What's up, Roos? I'm Lawrence Brooks IV, and welcome to a new semester of Roo News
COVID-19 mask mandate.
There's a lot to cover.
Lieutenant Governor Mike UMKC reported.
UMKC students continue to deal with housing issues, with some stepping forward about the living conditions. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lawrence Brooks IV.
And I'm Sylvia Jeffress. Students who currently live in the Oak or Johnson Hall dorms have experienced numerous problems. Some of these issues include washers and dryers not working, AC units that don't work in the summer, understaffed cleaning crew, non-working elevators, and most commonly known, flooding. Nearly a year ago, a Johnson Hall resident left the shower running. In a matter of hours, numerous rooms were drenched in water. UMKC was able to move students to different rooms or dorms in rapid fashion. Flash forward to 2022, a burst pipe that occurred over winter break flooded half of the west wing at Oak Hall. Over 150 students were relocated. However, according to numerous students, resident assistants were not allowed to tell residents about the flooding or what was going to happen. There were students who were moved, but were also told prior that they were not going to move. On top of that, residents have lost items due to the flooding. It's been reported that some students couldn't locate valuable items. Students also have not been compensated for lost items. With all of this being said, a student stepped forward and talked to RooTV about the living conditions at Oak Street Hall. Here's the interview.
Thank you for joining us today on this special report of RooTV. The Oak Hall residency suffered an unfortunate water pipe leak that affected many students here in UMKC. And with constant incidents occurring at Oak Hall and Johnson Hall, there is so much we haven't heard about this situation. We have brought an anonymous student who lived at Oak Hall for some time. What was your experience like at Oak Hall?
I had a very mixed feeling about my experience at Oak Hall. There was definitely positives, but I also had some negatives that affected my mental health.
Let's talk about the positives first.
First off, my positives, I think just the community and being able to meet so many new people. I don't think I'd be as involved without being in the dorms because of who I met and getting involved, especially during COVID.
Okay, well, so let's speak about the negatives. How did it affect your mental health?
The negatives, especially at the time, there was not a lot of opportunity to leave your room, and it was constantly with online classes. You did not have a lot of time to be alone, just kind of relax. It felt kind of timid just with everything going on, not knowing what was next. If we'd be able to have people in the dorms, or if things would open up more.
So this was mostly associated with just the pandemic lockdowns just having to be there?
Yeah, changing regulations. Yeah.
Okay, so it was sort of some confusion behind that in Oak Hall. Do you know how other students felt about that?
I think a lot of other people were frustrated as well, just not having space to maybe go take online classes or just have their own space a little, because there wasn't a lot going on campus.
Okay, and in regards to this particular situation, did you address it with UMKC administration, faculty, and what were their solutions during this time?
We hadn't really addressed it too much. Communication with the residents, not the residents, the faculty kind of there, like emails would it'd be kind of a while for them to respond. Anything, it took a while. Okay. So there wasn't much communication. Okay.
There have been reports of moldy areas and faulty equipment. What are your experiences with that? Are the rumors true? Have you heard other stories about the bad issues in housing from other students?
I have known several people that have had either the air or heat go out, and they've had to move in temporary units, which have lasted a while, which has definitely probably caused problems for individuals. I had someone's shower kind of handle thing fell off on the inside, and it looked like it was molding behind it. And then they kind of just duct taped it on.
Okay, in regards to the mold, so far as student health, has any students reported any health problems?
A lot of people report headaches. I got a headache a lot and felt a lot better when I did move out of the dorms. Just being in the dorms, or if I went on vacation somewhere or during a break left, I'd feel kind of better. A lot of runny nose and just minor headaches.
Okay, so would they provide temporary ventilation to kind of move the air around in a building that has been flooded and supposedly has mold issues?
Not that I know of. Okay.
How has the university addressed these issues, and do you feel that they have been adequate?
I don't think they've really been addressed at all. Um, I don't think they've been brought up as much as they needed to be. I think there is probably a problem, especially because there's been past instances of the whole building flooding. Um, and I don't think they've been addressed really.
When you say the whole building flooded, like how, just give us a visual picture. How big is Oak Hall and like just, what do you mean?
From what I know, 2 years ago, I believe, it flooded again. Like someone had tried hanging something on one of the fire water sprinklers, and it flooded from the 4th floor, I believe, which had caused a lot of people to move, which I've heard those stories too, in addition to the stories currently happening. So there's definitely been several floods and water problems, and I have not heard of any strategies to mitigate mold or work on making sure people are safe.
So when you say it started flooding on the 4th floor, it started on the 4th floor and it just flooded all the way down to the ground floor of the building?
That's what I've been told.
Okay. What changes would you like UMKC to make in terms of Oak Hall and just the dormitory living situation for students?
I think creating spaces for people to kind of have their own time, like own space, as well as checking in and making sure things are adequately like cleaned and making sure the space is environmentally safe for the students, just encouraging more of a better environment.
Okay, so you said room. What do you mean by room? Like how many students are in your dorm space?
In each space, there's like 2, but it's normal. Like typical is 2 in a room, but you have like a suite, so you have up to 4 people that share a bathroom. And the rooms are fairly small, but especially with a lot of people taking online classes, sometimes some people want to take their classes online in the room, and just having time and like spaces to be alone, just relax for a minute without that being at the library, just I think could be helpful for mental health.
Okay. When it comes to the cleaning situation, you mentioned cleaning. Since you all are in there and you're kind of stuck there, you know, during COVID, during the pandemic, going fully online, UMKC does not have an adequate cleaning service for you guys, or you guys are supposed to clean it yourselves? How does it necessarily go?
When I say cleaning, I definitely meant more towards like possible mold. Like the vents, I know were very filthy. Like if you ran your hand on it, it was covered in dust. And I don't think they were possibly ever like really cleaned, which I think could also be some of the headaches problems caused with that.
So how often do you see maintenance people?
I know people vacuum the hallway, but as far as maintenance and like checking drains or cleaning vents, I never saw anyone.
Okay. Well, hopefully UMKC, after seeing this interview, really starts to address these issues so they can prioritize student health and student overall health and student mental health specifically, and find a way to kind of mitigate the crampedness of you guys being in online classes during COVID. But we definitely appreciate you coming to RooTV and giving us a special report. And like I said, hopefully after UMKC sees this, they will they will address this issue promptly.
Of course, thank you. I appreciate you taking this time to interview me, and I hope that UMKC looks into this and sees it as an opportunity to better their community here on campus.
Without a doubt.
UMKC has responded to these reports. In a statement made to Roo News, UMKC said, UMKC is committed to providing safe and comfortable and inviting living spaces for residential life students. Unfortunately, maintenance issues inevitably arise for any building, and ours is no exception. In our response to the broken pipe issue in Oak Street Hall, our top priorities have been the safety and comfort of our resident students and trying to make this process as convenient as possible. We understand that this is very frustrating for students, and our staff has been working diligently to get the space restored as quickly as possible. We are working to ensure that Oak Hall is restored fully and properly in time for the students to begin the fall semester in August. When it comes to lost items, UMKC said, the moving company is responsible for replacing lost or broken items. The residential life staff has been reaching out to the students affected with information about the process of completing the remaining and unresolved cases. So we ask that students please respond to calls and emails. Students will need to submit a link to an online retailer offering a comparable item with price. The company will then reimburse the student for the cost of the item. In terms of the mold issue, UMKC said, "We encountered mold in the restricted work area and have taken immediate steps to prevent any spread. Ongoing multiple air sampling tests by a third party indicate that mold has not migrated into occupied areas of the building, and there is no hazard to the students."
This past week, graduate students protested against UMKC's minimum wage. Lane Mayo got the video of the event and talked to Eli Melichor-Fair, a PhD candidate in the economics department, about the issue. Here's a look.
We know all around the world it's workers that make the world go round. So we'll say, get up, get down. Workers make the world go round. Get up, get down. Workers make the world go round. Get up, get down. Workers make the world go round. Get up, get down.
There started to be some graduate organizing through what became the Graduate Rights Organization, GROW, a couple years ago in response to COVID concerns on campus and how the university was addressing those with regard to workplace safety and international student safety. It's not surprising that Chancellor Agrawal makes $464,000. That's like, it's very common in these large institutions to have a huge amount of inequality within campus. And what I would say is, it's just clear to me that this administration has chosen to prioritize things that will grant the administration what they perceive as prestige, as opposed to trying to limit harm on campus. One thing that students can do is just call and write the chancellor saying that they support this idea that the school meet Governor Parsons' state minimum wage for state employees, and also we're also additionally asking that they pay us the same that they pay at Missouri Columbia. So that for grad workers I think is $18,260, I believe, a year. Which would lift graduate employees, graduate teachers out of poverty.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, poverty pay has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, poverty pay has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, poverty pay.
UMKC COVID numbers have dipped significantly from the past 2 weeks. Currently, there are 6 active reported cases, almost half of what we experienced 2 weeks ago. The total cases have reached 247, which is still slightly lower than the fall semester totals. This is a welcoming trend as the spring season slowly rolls up. However, we want to remind you that masking is still strongly recommended by UMKC. Also, getting vaccinated will help us continue to eliminate the amount of COVID cases.
The criminology department at UMKC is an underrated program here on campus. Yara Salamed interviewed Lynette Lockhart, a professor of criminology at UMKC. Let's take a look.
Hi guys, my name is Yara Salamed and I have with me Professor Lynette Lockhart. She's a professor in the Criminology and Criminal Justice Department. She also coaches mock trials. She's been coaching them since 2019. I attended a couple of the mock trial sessions and I thought it was really beneficial, and I also really liked her energy, so I was like, I'm totally gonna get her for an interview. So Lynette, could you tell us or elaborate on what exactly mock trials are?
The easiest way to describe it, if you ever watch a TV series like Law and Order or watch a movie where there's pretty much the same thing. You get a fake case and you basically take it to trial, but everything, the case is scripted for you. And the goal with mock trial is one school's team, say UMKC, goes up against another school somewhere in the country. One side will be the prosecution, the other side will be the defense, and you see who can win the trial. So it's like sports, but in a courtroom. So.
Okay. Well, what brought you into coaching mock trials, and like, how has the experience been like overall for you?
Well, while I was in law school, I was on the mock trial team. And of course, when I graduated law school, I went straight into a trial practice. And I really enjoy trying cases. After, I think right around 2019, actually, I just got a new job where there was no room for trial work. It was sitting at a desk writing decisions, and I missed the courtroom. So I reached out to some colleagues. I got in touch with the UMKC mock trial team coach, and I started assisting her with coaching. Unfortunately, she passed away in October 2019 while the team was at competition, and I miss her, and I thought I would honor her by at least finishing the season. Of course, I fell in love with it, and I couldn't stop coaching mock trial. It's a lot of fun. Aside from the fact that I love trial practice, and it's a great opportunity for me where I'm not doing trials to teach other people my skills and hopefully help them get ready for law school. But also for me, watching a mock trial competition is like how people watch the Chiefs game. I get really into it. It's really exciting.
Okay, and like, how has your experience been like with like pre-law students? Because I know that it's probably a lot harder to reach out to them since they come from all sorts of majors. Yeah,
so it's interesting, you know, with mock trial, certainly there's a lot of benefit to anybody who's pre-law. Exposure to legal terminology, trial procedures, critical thinking in a way that most lawyers do. What I've come to learn is that there's a lot of pre-law students in a lot of different majors, because there is no real pre-law major. I was a philosophy major. Some of my colleagues were poli-sci, psychology, English, sociology. So my hope is that now that COVID's almost over, hopefully, knock on wood, you know, I can make myself more available, kind of publicize the team a little more. We've been doing really well, so my hope is to reach out to them. But also, you know, it's not just for pre-law students. We do have, you know, communications majors or business majors or sometimes pre-med folks. The thing is, certainly it'll help you get ready for law school, or at least I hope so. But it's still fun, and, you know, people still make friends, and it's, I don't know, it's like any other extracurricular activity. So it's not, I don't want people thinking it's just for pre-law students. It's fun to watch and fun to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, I heard that you're teaching like a new ethics and criminal justice course, like for the upcoming fall.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that the CJC department's been kind of interested in some of the things I'm interested in and that I would love to teach. So I thought it was going to be the fall. It may not be. I've had some scheduling things happen because I'm teaching other courses. So this is really exciting for me. You know, teaching while I'm still practicing law is kind of like mixing all my favorite things in the world. So I've got mock trial. My hope is to teach an ethics and criminal justice class in the spring. I am also going to be teaching, it's a class where it's about war crimes basically, but the students would be investigating and researching war crimes in partnership with the investigative arm of the Department of Homeland Security. So it's a really great opportunity. And then I'm also teaching a law and popular culture class. So how does the media portray the legal process, and how does that impact the legal process real time? So there's really exciting things, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds exciting to me, honestly. Like, I'm gonna graduate in December, but I would have like loved to take these courses.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay, so what advice do you have for like any pre-law students or like anyone looking to get into the legal field?
That there is a lot. So for me, I didn't know I was pre-med actually.
Are you serious?
Yes, absolutely. Wow. You know, my whole family's doctors and my mom's a microbiologist. So I thought, oh, well, this is what I want to do. And when I got to the last semester of my senior year, I realized I don't want to do this. I was getting straight A's in philosophy and I wanted to go to law school. So I think the biggest thing is getting to know yourself as best you can. You know, I know there are requirements for your major or core classes that are required, but to the extent that you can maybe try a little bit of everything and realize, like, try to learn what it is that drives you, what makes you passionate. That's the first piece. The second piece is talk to someone. I certainly welcome any student, if there's ever any question about how they can better prepare for applying to law school. Certainly, I don't have all the answers and I never pretend to, but to the best of my ability, I try to get them in touch with the people that I know do. For example, during spring break, we're holding a 4-day event. We call it the pre-law checklist. So Tuesday, we're going to be having a bunch of law students come talk about the application process. Wednesday, we're going to have a bunch of lawyers come talk about it. And Thursday, UMKC Law, the director of admissions, is coming to talk. So, the resources are out there. It's about finding, the right person to talk to. Certainly, I would be more than happy to make myself available. I know if you have faculty advisors, things like that, and certainly just reaching out to the school that you think you want to go to, asking them what factors are important, what is an ideal candidate looking like for you guys, and yeah, just it's about getting out there and getting the information you need.
So thank you, Lynette, for just being here and sharing all your tips and your nice stories and just all that you've given us pre-law students. Really, it's all beneficial, and you're just a great joy to be around.
Oh my gosh, thank
and
you
honestly,
so much.
I highly recommend guys join mock trials, try to be involved. There are resources, and she's someone that's great to go to. So yeah.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
With the current situation with Ukraine and Russia, the effect it has on the United States is bigger than expected. Here to guide us through the war is my good friend Lawrence. So what can you tell us about the war going on?
Thank you, Sylvia. The war going on in Ukraine is closer to America than we think. But like always, most Americans are too distracted by culture wars or subjectively aligned with the anti-intellectualism of the right. Vladimir Putin and his atrocious war crimes against Ukrainian civilians are a wet dream for American conservatives. To start, Russia is the most anti-democratic first world nation on the planet. Free and fair elections, journalism, free speech, and protests do not exist in any capacity. Current examples of the mass arrest of 15,000 plus Russian citizens for protesting the Stalin moment and the new law of jailing journalists for up to 15 years if they speak out about their crimes against humanity. All independent journalistic institutions have been forced to flee the country, and their networks have been shut down by Putin's government. If you ask the right questions to any American conservative, they will openly approve of this tyranny if implemented in America against their perceived political enemies. Next, the fact that he has changed the country's constitution to remain in power and has killed or attempted to assassinate his political opposition. In 2021, he tasked his military intelligence services with poisoning Alex Navalny, a Russian lawyer who challenged him for the presidency and has exposed his oligarchical corruption to the citizens of Russia. He survived this ordeal, but was immediately jailed when he returned to his country. He remains there to this day. If you listen to conservative media, they are openly calling for the next civil war here in America and the killing of their political opponents. I could go on, but I will be here for days detailing the parallels between American conservatism and Russian authoritarianism. To be honest, our political right has copied every tactic of Putin from media to legislation since 2008. We always have the arrogance to think that democracy and stability is guaranteed here in America. But from this black dude's vantage point, if 2024 goes to a Republican, it might be time for Americans of all marginalized groups to think about using that passport.
From UMKC and KC News, we hop into the world of sports. Back for another episode is Jackson Ogden with Into the Den with Jackson Ogden. Take it away.
Welcome back into the Den. I'm Jackson Ogden. We have a packed show today, so let's go ahead and talk about the sports world. Something I think we all deep down knew might happen but really didn't want to believe came true on Sunday when seven-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady announced he was unretiring and coming back to play. Brady was retired for exactly 40 days, which makes me think he might have just done an early Lent and given up football, but regardless, we are in for yet another year of him as his insufferable fan base trying to glorify a bunch of 5-yard screens. Moving off the fossil and onto some younger guys, the reigning back-to-back MVP Aaron Rodgers announced last Tuesday that he'd be returning for his 18th season with the Packers after considering retirement or even a trade to another team. This big domino falling led to the Broncos deciding if they couldn't get Rodgers that they were going to get the next best option and traded for Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson. I personally was in a Zoom class when this went down and immediately started refreshing Twitter to see if I was getting punked, but Russell Wilson is now joining a division that already has Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr. With all of that news hitting the headlines last week, it was easy to forget that free agency begins Tuesday, March 15th, and many key players are hitting the market. Here locally, safety Tyrann Mathieu is set to become a free agent and has been tweeting cryptic messages like he's a 17-year-old recruit toying with fans on where he's going to play next season. The Chiefs also have to make decisions on players like Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson and others this week. Now that we've blown through the crazy storm that the NFL has brought this month, let's dive into another sport, the MLB. And for the first time since I've been hosting Into the Den, the MLB is officially back and no longer in a lockout. After a 99-day battle between the players and the owners, the sides reached an agreement that is going to allow for all games to be played, with opening day being on April 7th, just 8 days later than the initial date was. Personally, I'd like to say to every owner, I hope your pillow is forever warm and you can never get a good night's rest, because the hell you just put us through for months was absolute horse crap. And I'm glad the players got much-deserved financial benefits from these discussions. Well, that's all I have for this week in the Den. As always, I'm Jackson Ogden, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us this week. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram.
And check out RooTV and Roo News for campus and KC Metro news updates. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.